The F1 shocks just keep coming and coming as we have reports that Adrian Newey is set to leave Red Bull, ending his long association with the Austrian team. But what could this mean for Red Bull going forward? What is the fallout and how will this affect the grid? My name is Steph Wentworth, and joining me to discuss this we have Jake Boxall-Legge. JBL, let's get straight into it. What have we heard so far? What are the rumours that are swirling around?
So, long story short is that, Adrian Newey is set to leave Red Bull, which, let's be honest, it has been talked about over the last few weeks. We weren't sure about the veracity of that, given everything that's kind of happened over the last couple of months with regards to Red Bull, the allegations surrounding Christian Horner and his place in the team, and the ensuing power struggle as well. There's been kind of a lot of, let's say, opportunities to kind of unsettle the current establishment of the team. It seems now that this has come to fruition. It seems that the current situation, Adrian Newey is probably, let's say, found untenable, and it does seem that he's on his way out of the team, which has been confirmed by sources close to Autosport. So it seems that he's going to go and plough his own furrow once again, and it will be very interesting to see where he ends up and what happens to Red Bull as well. Obviously Newey has been their talisman for the past 18 years, so it's quite a big turn of events.
And there has been a fair bit of speculation surrounding Red Bull in recent months. Is this a case of it's the first domino to fall? Could there be more to follow? Could there be more set to leave potentially after Newey?
I think there's certainly the possibility for that, and that's simply because of Newey's status in the team. He's been that figurehead that has been, associated with the huge successes that the team's had over the past, 20 years, nearly 20 years in Formula One. Responsible for the cars that started with the RB5 in 2009, and then later went on from 2010 to 2013, went on and won the championship, and now the current successes as well. He's been cited as the designer that has understood the kind of remit of the ground effect aerodynamics the best. To his past experience working in, when they were first around in the 70s and 80s. And so with that, Red Bull would lose a huge bank of knowledge, someone that's had huge successes, and someone who's also very influential. And that's the most pertinent thing as well. He's going to have a number of people that wherever he goes, they'll follow because they want to continue to work with one of F1's greatest designers and technical minds. That's the crux of it. Whether people within Red Bull currently outside the design department also decide that as well. We're talking management. We're also talking drivers here as well. There's the potential for this to really shake things up beyond the current order. It's funny. We thought that we were in for a pretty boring, silly season, but it's not just drivers, it's designers as well.
Absolutely. And you know what? We thought that Lewis Hamilton was kicking all of this off with his silly season, and he started it all. So it's very interesting now that it's extended far beyond the drivers. But as you mentioned, Newey is such a big part of that Red Bull team and has been so integral to its development in the past years. How is this going to affect Red Bull and potentially, current world champion Max Verstappen? How is this going to affect him going forward?
Well, what we know is that Verstappen has a exit contract in his deal that if Dr. Helmut Marko, the Red Bull advisor, leaves the team, then Verstappen will be free to do so as well. What we don't know is whether he has the same clause for Newey. And in the event that he does, he will then have to make a choice of whether to stay or whether he's going to potentially follow Newey to wherever he lands, if there's a space available. There's a lot of decision making to happen here. Verstappen has said that he'll be happy to stay at Red Bull as long as the key pieces remain in place. A key piece is now gone, and it's basically a case of where does Verstappen go? What is his next step? Do you follow Adrian Newey to wherever he goes and continue your championship successes, or do you stick it out with Red Bull? Now, Red Bull does have a very it must be said that Red Bull has a brilliant technical department. There's huge strength and depth, and Newey is, to a certain degree, a figurehead for that. But there are so many more talented individuals. Pierre Vacher is the technical director. There's guys like Ben Waterhouse as well, Paul Monaghan. All of them have been responsible for the design and also the race team running of Red Bull's championship efforts over the last few seasons. So it doesn't just stop with Newey, and we should give everybody else their due credit. But again, he's such a sort of figurehead, such an influence, and such a brilliant technical mind that it would be very, very difficult, I would surmise, for Verstappen to not consider following him if there is a vacancy available.
And as we know, there are many seats available still yet to be filled on the grid for 2025 and onwards. But where could Adrian Newey go? Let's talk about that, because he has said previously, he'd love to work with the likes of Sir Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. They are both at two different teams who he has been speculated to be linked with. Obviously, there's the links with Lewis and Ferrari, and now recently Aston Martin have been trying to coax him and get him to join their side. So what are his options there?
Well, I think you've laid out the two key ones there, Steph. Ferrari has been linked with him. Obviously, Fred Vasseur has, put together this big push to get a lot of big technical minds together to kind of reinstate Ferrari as the driving force at the front of F1. And it's very sort of like shades of Jean Todt back in 1993, 94, that kind of era when he was setting up, eventually bringing on board Michael Schumacher for 96, and then Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne, who were kind of the technical doyens of the day, let's say. So that's a potential opportunity. And he has had offers to join Ferrari before in the past, which he hasn't followed through with. But it has to be said that Newey's towards the end, getting towards the end of his career in, Formula One now. He's not the young man that he once was, let's say. He's still nonetheless as potent as he was, if not more so. But surely there's a sort of magic of ending your career with Ferrari potentially. But there is the question of whether it's like the Ferrari of old and he won't have the autonomy that he wants, or whether Vasseur is sort of bringing this revolution together, and whether he feels, let's say, enfranchised by the model that Vasseur's putting together. But equally, there's Aston Martin as well. Lawrence Stroll is not afraid to put his money where his mouth is. He wants to create the best team in Formula One. And he recognises the power that Newey has. And so it's not inconceivable that he puts together a big money offer. I believe that actually that's kind of already happened. He's made Newey an offer. What came of that, we don't know. We'll find out in a few days confirmed. Or a few weeks' time. Yeah, exactly. But there must be a sort of luster of that project as well. He's been with Red Bull for such a long time. He helped build that team up, Newey, and there might be the chance to kind of do that one more time again if he enjoyed that experience of taking a team from kind of, let's say, the sort of midfield or the outer reaches of the kind of points, let's say, and thrust it into championship contention. And there's also another sort of point that Newey has made before. He made this maybe a year or so ago, that one regret of his career that he never got to work with Fernando Alonso. And with Aston Martin, the opportunity is there. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether he follows Lewis Hamilton and gets a chance to work with him and joins Ferrari, or whether he wants to work with Fernando Alonso and joins Aston Martin. There may be other options available. He might, say, I've done my time in Formula One. I've had a lot of money. Let's give Haas a go. Let's give Williams a go. Let's give, take the ultimate project. It's kind of like, playing Football Manager. You want to take a team from the bottom and take them to the top. Maybe he's got that kind of desire. I don't know. But it does remain to be seen. I think Ferrari and Aston Martin are definitely the key options there.
Yes, there's a lot to be learned in the next few weeks as this story continues to develop. And as always, we will keep you updated as the news continues to emerge. JBL, thank you so much for your time. And to you guys, if you have enjoyed what you've seen, make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all things F1 and motorsport. Don't forget to check out autosport.com for all of our written content as well. But for now, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.